What if you could see the future now? Surely your sports betting record would be undefeated, and of course you would have invested in Apple. But when it comes to basketball, the best way to see the future stars of the NBA is by witnessing the G League Ignite now.
This is G League Ignite Takeover. I'm Gianna Hearn, and that's Mike Davis. And this is the show that breaks down everything Ignite. But before we introduce you to the guys making the mark this year, let's take a quick look back.
At first, Ignite was viewed as an experiment, but 3 years of draft picks from Jalen Green to Scoot Henderson have changed the perception of what this program can do for players with big dreams and tireless work ethics.
If they can pull this off, the college game is different, the high school game, the AAU circuit is different, and everyone's going to be banging down Ignite's door to be a part of it.
G League Ignite is the first of its kind, a true alternative to college basketball and path to the promised land. This is where the best young prospects in the world go chase their NBA dreams to improve their draft stock and learn what it means to be a pro.
Ignite is the one team in the G League that doesn't have a parent team. And the NBA does it that way so that they can send young guys, these prospects that are going to get drafted in the next draft. They can send them, and this is a landing spot for them to learn and grow and acclimate to professional life and just become their best selves on and off the court. And the NBA has kind of a direct presence and a direct hand in all of that. Coaching job is hard for everybody, right? Because you got to balance all these egos and all these goals and strengths and weaknesses, all these things. But then you add in the fact that these guys are so different as far as their development and where they are in life. And I mean, it's a crazy balancing act. So very unique job, and there's no one better for it than Jason.
I got the chills there, and that's what's just so crazy. In a few short years, this organization has not only made history, but it's setting the stage for the future of basketball. Gianna, what makes the Ignite so special?
I think they find the right players. If you think back to last draft, Scoot Henderson, number 3 pick. I mean, I think he could have gone higher, but yes. I mean, you know, Scoot Henderson had a drive and a work ethic unlike any other player that I've seen, especially at his age. He was the typical pro for a young man. So they find those type of players. They know who's ready for the next level, and they get them. It's
such a special thing, and as we're thinking about how many guys have been drafted early in the NBA draft, guys like Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Dyson Daniels. I mean, these are guys who, when we were growing up, they would have went to the top flight NCAA Division I programs, the UNCs, the Dukes, and now they're opting to go to the G League Ignite. Tell us, I mean, these types of guys and the impact that they're making at the next level already, is it surprising to you? And are we just going to see more and more of this from future prospects?
It's not surprising at all. If you saw Jalen Green from the day he came in, if you saw Jonathan Kuminga from the day he came in, I watched him at a practice where he dunked on a veteran's head. He had the size of a pro on day one. They just need to cultivate him, wrangle him in. And then Kuminga went to one of the best places he could have to help him out, Golden State Warriors. And we're seeing what he's already doing here in the preseason. So to answer your question, no, there's no other place but Ignite that these type of players could cultivate and become pros.
That's a great thing. Now that we have taken a look at some of the past stars, well, it's time to meet who's got next. Meet Ron Holland.
Ron Holland is a star unlike any other. He could be Ignite's #1 draft pick. The first time they've ever had a #1 draft pick, that would be something just to say about this program. They've already had 10 picks. If they could get a #1, I mean, what does their resume look like?
What does this guy have so far? What have you seen from Ron Holland at this point?
Well, he's a monster in transition. So if you guys are wanting some highlights, get your camera ready, get your binoculars out, because he's going to give you some in transition. I mean, he knows how to go downhill. Defensively, his lateral movement, going one-on-one, he's able to shift side to side, get in front of the guy, and that's why he's able to force turnovers. And that's why we see him in transition. So he's got some stuff to work on. But what he has already is a lot to work with.
I love it. He's a great two-way player, and look at the way he's finishing at the rim.
He can finish with either hand as well, so that's something pretty unique to him and special, and most pros can do that, so he's already prized to do that.
I love it. All right. I sat down with the 6'8" power forward to learn some more. Let's take a listen.
Holland, all alone. It's showtime.
I mean, a consensus 5-star prospect, #2 ranked prospect in the class of 2023. I mean, you had all the options presented to you as a highly talented guy. Why did you choose Ignite?
I feel like I chose Ignite just because, let alone how what I've seen they do in the past. And with their resume, I've seen that they put guys in the league that's doing very well in the league right now. And I've seen how much they really care about just individual work and how well they do on and off the court activities. They give you all the acknowledgement you need to become a pro.
And you're 18, right?
Yes,
so, I mean, at 18, it's tough. I mean, the amount of pressure, the weight on your shoulders as a guy who's, you know, producing so much right now, but also has this future ahead of him. Express to us as an audience what that really feels like to have that type of weight on your shoulders and to then have to execute and live up to those expectations.
I mean, honestly, I try not to look at it like stress or any things that I need to be looking down at. I feel like I trust my work and I trust my habits and everything that I've been doing since middle school, and when I started taking basketball very, very serious. I know that every time I step in the gym, it's like I just trust my habits, and I know it's gotten me pretty far now, and I know I got to change some things, but I trust my work. So I know everything that I've done up until this point has been great, but I got a long way to go.
It's Holland. Spins away and lays it in.
And tell us, where do you see, you know, where are your best skill sets and where they lie right now, and where do you think you need to make the most improvement in your game?
My best skill set right now is me just being able to, I have a feel for the game and my high level IQ. I play well in transition, I finish well, I make open shots, but really anything that I need to work on is every single thing. Defense, I know that this game, it seems slow on TV and things, but it's really not. It's very, very fast, and I know that's an adjustment that I'm making, and I know at the same time I'm taking control over my body weight and everything. I'm really just focusing on just sharpening up ball handling, consistency in my shot, and really just everything that's going to be keeping me being a pro.
And at the next level, how do you see yourself playing and fitting into that NBA game?
I see myself seeing that what the game is turning into a lot of forwards, skilled forwards, just being able to defend 1 through 5 and be able to play 1 through 5. I see myself doing it because I'm 6'6", 6'7", good weight. Seeing that I can do a lot of things on the floor, it makes me very versatile, so it makes it very valuable.
Look out, here comes Holland. Oh, he gets in! Oh, goodness gracious! That is the dunk of the tournament.
And let's talk Ignite. So, I mean, here, you know, as opposed to doing something NCAA, I mean, where does, you know, the day-to-day, how does this take you to that next level? This program being, you know, surrounded by this staff, by, you know, a team that's constructed to not just win, but to also help you get to that next level. Where does that come into the fold, and how have you recognized that, you know, element to this organization?
I say it helps a lot because being that you're with NBA guys every single day throughout your whole day, on and off the court, is really just showing you what it takes to become a pro and is what it takes for you to reach your dream.
And a year from now, where do you think you're going to be?
A year from now, I see myself in the NBA.
Are you the top pick?
I believe so. I hope so.
All right, there you go. Ron Holland. Thanks so much, Ron.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a special player with a special mindset. Gianna, what can he do? What can Ron do during this year to solidify himself as the top pick in next year's NBA draft?
You know, he's going to have to show himself as a high-level scoring option. He talked about he wants to work on his shot. I went to practice this week, and I saw him working on it. He's getting there, but he's going to have to prove that, and he did that in the Fall Invitational. He had 2 games, 1 game with 23 points, 1 game with 33 points, and so scouts were there saying, all right, he's taking it on, so we'll see if he can do that the rest of the season.
If he develops that knockdown jumper, that 3-point, I mean, he's going to be a deadly scoring option. Guess what? Coming up, guys, we're breaking down the team with the absolute perfect person. Yes, Ignite General Manager Anthony McClish joins us on Takeover. That's after the break. Well, for an organization that started in 2020 and is heading into its 4th year of existence, it's crazy to think about the current and future impact the G League Ignite has had on the basketball world. And a big part of the reason for that success needs to be attributed to our next guest.
He's the general manager of Ignite, a role he's been in for 2 years. We're pleased to welcome him onto the show. Ignite general manager Anthony McClish, thank you for being here. Now, I've been told by veterans and just mass media is talking about this may be the best team that Ignite has come together and formed. Do you believe that, and will that help you guys in competition in the G League, do you think, as you guys are going for a championship, as well as trying to get these guys drafted?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. I would like to take that a step further, if that's okay, and say that this could be the best pre-NBA team ever assembled. I don't think a college team, I don't think an international team has had the talent that we have this year. I think it's going to be a special group. I think they legitimately deserve that type of attention. I think they have incredible potential as individuals, and then when they come together collectively, when they start to figure it out and play as a cohesive unit, I think this group could be extremely exciting to watch.
Now let's talk about this, because for people who are at home and just becoming familiar with the G League and Ignite, you guys are independent of any other NBA team or organization. Kind of tell us how this organization, Ignite, functions differently and what makes that such a unique and special thing for not only fans, but for players getting to that next level.
Yeah, so we are the NBA G League Ignite, and so each kind of step in that name is significant. So Ignite is its own unique program. As you said, we're not tied to any NBA team. We're a development program for an elite group of pre-draft players, both domestic and international. We compete within the G League. We compete against the likes of the affiliates of the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks, etc. And that league is a part of the NBA umbrella. And so our players get NBA development, NBA competition, NBA resources to max their readiness to then be drafted into the NBA.
You're going into your 4th season. In 3 seasons, you guys have had 10 draft picks. That's the most of any other program in that span. Do you think that Ignite is living up to what NBA and G League executives thought this would be?
I hope so. I think we try to set our own standard for this. The exciting thing for us is, as alluded to earlier, this is a startup program, and then this was a startup program. We're kind of getting into the point where we have proof of concept, which is nice, as you can see by our recruiting classes. But we set a very high standard for us and have a necessary kind of degree of flexibility from the beginning of, okay, we're going to try some of these things and see what works and see how we can tweak it as we continue to grow as a program. And so we've added more young players. We've added resources. We're here in Henderson and Vegas. We have a home that we're establishing roots. And so, yeah, I hope, I think based on the draft picks that teams are taking notice, and also they're getting drafted highly and they're producing. So our players have played the most NBA minutes of any program in the past. So that to me is the most rewarding. Our guys are getting there, and when they get there, they're contributing.
Last thing here, I want to talk a little bit about you personally. In college, Ohio State, you're the head manager for the women's basketball team, but you were an intern with the San Antonio Spurs. You kind of came from that pedigree that we love with Popovich and R.C. Buford. Tell us, you've worked with the Sacramento Kings. You've had a pretty storied history already personally yourself and a great pedigree. What have you learned from the guys like Popovich and the Spurs organizations, and what are you taking from those experiences and implementing into Ignite?
Yeah, I feel very lucky to have had the mentors that I did and the people to learn from that I did at that age, especially being so young. They were comfortable with themselves in those positions such that they empowered others who were younger people like myself to learn from them, and they were great teachers. And what I think is most tangible and relevant to Ignite specifically, which is what I love about this, my favorite job that I've had, is the giving aspect, the selflessness aspect of it. We are here to give to the players. We're not here to baby them. We're here to develop them and push them and get them out of their comfort zone, but give them all of the support and the love that they need to do that. And with the Spurs specifically, that was exemplified, embodied every day by the leadership in that building, and that is hopefully what we're establishing here, and what I took from that personally.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We're going to see you all season long. But coming up next, we're going to be on Ron Holland. We're taking a look at more impactful players that are on the team, ready to shock the court. Thunder Rumblings is up next.
According to Stevie Nicks, thunder only happens when it's raining, but the dreams of these future stars goes beyond basic raining of buckets. These guys are here to cause a rumble. Gianna, let's take a closer look at some of the special talent that's going to be showcased on the hardwood this season, and let's kick it off with Modest Bucelis. I mean, this guy, he's special. Tell us what you have witnessed from Modest so far.
18-year-old Latvian-American, 6'10", and approximate 6'10" wingspan. What does that tell you about a guy? I mean, he's so ready, and you would think that he would be in the front court, but he's really ready to be a small forward. He can shoot. He's a knockdown shooter. He's got to work on some things, but that is why they're looking at him, because of how he can shoot and what he can create for himself and others.
And he's one of those guys, his just his whole body and his playing style, it's perfect for the next level, right? Because this is where the NBA is going. He's kind of reminiscent in some ways of Ron, right? Because he's ambidextrous a little bit with the way that he can score and his ability, but his length and his size as a two-way player, what have you seen in that regard?
You know, you mentioned his likeness to Ron. He's a little bit taller. He's near 7 feet and can do some similar things. So some draft boards, they have him in the top 5, but some are saying he could make the jump to number 1, and I think that's if he can really develop in other areas. Now, he ball handles pretty smoothly. They liken him to Kevin Durant just because of his size and ball handling, but he has such a smooth game. It's effortless. He floats it in. It's so pretty to watch, but he's got to be more imposing. He's got to add some weight. Upper and body strength is going to be very important for him as he's banging around in the NBA with bigger guys, not even just the NBA, but in the G League. He's going to come up against some pros that are going to give him some pushback there. So we'll see how he handles it. But if he does what he can do this season with Ignite, and we've seen that with other prospects, will he make the jump and beat out his teammate? That's going to be an interesting storyline. We haven't seen that where it's been so close, where you're edging out. Potentially 8 players from Team Ignite could be drafted. Wow. That is crazy.
It's sensational what's going on surrounding him as well as Ron. But next up is London Johnson. So this guy actually got to experience playing guard alongside Scoot Henderson last season. What kind of role do you see him kind of stepping into now with Scoot gone?
You know, London Johnson, he has to show how confident he is because he did have 1 year already with Ignite. He took the handles from Scoot Henderson. He is shifty like a point guard you'd like. He's crafty like a point guard you would like. He handles the rock like no other, and he's finding his teammates, but he needs to be more efficient when it comes to shooting. He's got to get those balls to fall more efficiently from beyond the perimeter when he's taking it inside. That's something he's got to work on this year. And then can he lead this team? Can he be the voice? Can he be the floor general?
Especially as a point guard, you always want that in your floor general and your point guard. Now, this next guy up, Gianna, he's got 3 MVP awards to his name.
Let's call him a winner.
He definitely has that pedigree. In FIBA World Cup and European play, Ethan Almanzi is currently projected as ESPN's number 18 pick in the 2024 NBA draft. I was talking to one of the coaches this week, Amir Johnson, telling me, as a big man himself who played with the Ignite, played about 15 seasons in the NBA, this guy is so impressed with what this guy already brings to the table. And the truth is, a lot of it is because, listen, he's a Spaniard. He grew up playing overseas. And we know, Gianna, the guys that go pro at 14, 15 and have that experience to play overseas like that, they just bring a different level of professionalism to the program and to the floor. What have you heard about him?
You know, playing overseas matures you way faster. And as you know in your interview with him, he started off playing so young, so he was ready for this. But what scouts are saying about him is that he doesn't have one thing that he does elitely. When you look at him, you're wanting to say, okay, he's a shooter, he's a knockdown, whatever it is. He does a lot of things good. What is the one thing he does great? When you become a role player in the NBA, you need to have a role. What is his role? He will have to carve that out on Ignite. But like I've said on the show before, Ignite does that. They develop the players and they figure out what their niche is. And Coach Hart, he definitely knows how to do that. He's done that with players in the past.
I love it. I can't wait to see it. Now, it's time to head into the eye of the storm.
This is where we take a deep dive and go behind the scenes with all things Ignite. Join us as we take a closer look at the Fall Invitational in this edition of Inside the Pro Lab.
Ignite now has a totally new crop of players, young prospects, potential number 1 and number 2 players to be picked in the upcoming draft.
This is what Ignite was started to do, was to create opportunities for these young men. Last year, it was a spectacle here. We're having another one tonight. I'm expecting a really exciting ball game.
Turnover now for Turk Wildcats. Here goes one-handed hammer. And there's no question, John Jenkins is the best shooter in the G League. Inside, Babacar Sané. Ignite, they're switching everything on D. Harris high off the window, throws it up and throwing it down. Tyler Smith. That was nasty. The Euro gets to the offhand. Bryce Cotton. Ron Holland showing you the smooth jumper. Contested. A putback done by Alex Sarr. Here's Bruzelis. He's calling for it in the corner. Stands up and under. Showing you the flare. Kick out Sané. Is blocked by Sarr. Sarr has been everywhere. Once again by Sarr. Shot clock winding down. It's at 5. Bruzelis finishes with 2 hands. Holland, he's directing traffic. Gets by his man. It's just too easy. Corey Webster rises up with a hand in his face, knocks it down. Almanza, look at those long steps and the touch. Argo with the crossover. Which way did he go? Saar beats the shot clock. Johnson, the point guard. Pull up in the paint. There's the decision-making that they want to see. How do you stop that? Sky hook from Alex Saar. There's Buzelis. Finishes with the left and one. Allen trying to set up his man. Gets downhill high off the glass. He continues his scoring streak. It's NBA G League Ignite with a 124-105 win over the Perth Wildcats. What a start to the preseason for Ignite.
All right, great highlights there from the Fall Invitational. Now, after a short break, it's time to look ahead. Take out your Sharpies and highlighters. We're circling the upcoming games on this schedule you need to be at. All right, so you went home, take out that pen and paper and take some notes. I think you need a purple highlighter for this. Let's take a closer look at the excitement surrounding the upcoming schedule for Ignite. So, Gianna, what are we kicking off with here?
Okay, the regular season kicking off versus Ontario. It's a back-to-back. You guys got to check this one out on the 10th and 11th of November. We'll see how it goes.
All right, and the Ignite's first game on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network is Friday, November 10th at 7 p.m. You can watch that on 5.2 or on Cox Cable Channel 125.
Thanks for watching Fox 5 News. Watch us live wherever you are, on our mobile, on our streaming news app. And you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.